I think it's really interesting to think about who receives credit for these pieces and ownership. What's really fascinating is many chodes often very explicitly and proudly say who commissioned the work, but you rarely, and I've never encountered a chode that says who made the actual work. And I think this is related to larger conversations and global and timely conversations about who deserves credit for artistic work. I think in the context of South Asia and in the work I've done with textile artists across India, it's never, this type of work and textile work is never really talked about as artistic or creative practice. It's always talked about as a form of labor, as a job, as something you do to make money and feed your family and have your home. And so I think that changes the dynamic of, is this an expression of creativity? Is this an artistic form? Which, some of us say yes, it's clearly a talented skill set that takes a lifetime to master. Why wouldn't you receive credit for that work? But for others, it's not as concerning. And I think this is a concern in South Asia, and people are talking about it and thinking about it, but it's also not unique to the region. I think this is happening across the world, and many people are thinking about how do we understand artistic ownership and creativity, and how do we credit people properly, especially when we have these historical objects that we don't know much about the people who made them. So I think that's one piece of it. And I think that also, since these works are created in such a community-based practice, it's hard to know how many people worked on something and like who do you actually give credit for? Is it just the embroiderers? But what about the people who produced and manufactured the silk and the velvet? And when velvet was being produced by hand, that was such a difficult process. That takes talent and skill as well. And the people who are plating the metals and collecting the other materials, like those people are such important parts of the whole process. So it's an interesting question, and when you start to think about it, there's so many layers to it.